Sir, you still haven't found your cousin. As you well know, we cannot leave without him.
Have no fear. I will bring him back in time to make our scheduled departure. Is everything ready?
I'm still without news of my cabin boy, but we will have to do without.
I spoke with a woman who told me she was the mother of the cabin boy. She claims that her son was taken from her.
Taken? Her son is sea-gifted. His parents were required to give him up to honor the terms of a contract.
A contract? But what kind of contract are we speaking of?
A commercial contract. In exchange for services rendered by the Nords, some families cede more than gold. In some cases, nations even trade some of their subjects before they're born. I wouldn't be able to tell you the condition of Jonas's contract. I didn't even know he was originally from Serene. But what I can tell you is the young man hasn't seen his parents since he was a small child. And ever since, he's been a Nord. Our ships are his home. We are his only family.
Could you tell me a little about your guild?
We are masters of the oceans. Our ships can sail where no others dare.
Thanks to your magic, so I've heard. How do you become a Nord?
Our magic, yes, that only the Nords master. As for your question, any child born on one of our ships is sea-born. He is a Nord from birth. Others are sea-gifted, joining the Nords for different reasons, often from a young age. It's how the guild is made and maintains its numbers.
Be back soon, Captain.
You see anyone else who might be able to help us? Anyone who's not a Naut?
Sir de Corsillion's a veritable well of scientific knowledge. He could tell us a little more.
But I still don't see Constantine at your side. I hope he hasn't been the victim of any foul play.
Don't worry. We'll find him in time for departure.
I certainly hope so. Would you be in need of my help in any way?
I've had a word with Lady Fontaine. You must know her. That rich family that lives near the docks. She told me a strange story about her son who was a cabin boy on our ship. She said that he was taken when he was a child due to some contract with the Nords.
Who was a cabin boy? Do you mean he's no longer one?
They took him back to bring him home.
Well, that is very unpleasant news, de Sade. We need to do all we can to bring the boy back to his ship. Since time immemorial, there has always been a certain price to pay for the services of the Nords. Children born on their ships belong to them. It's the rule of the sea. But certain contracts are so important that they also require children to be offered in exchange. From time to time, the congregation has passed such accord, and certain noble families had to give their children up.
Are you telling me that the Fontaines lost their son because of some agreement signed between my uncle and the Nords?
No. That pact ended a long time ago. This cabin boy couldn't have been a part of that contract. But Sir Fontaine has made a fortune trading with the Alliance, via ships.
Do you mean he would have offered up his own son in exchange for wealth?
Well, he probably did it before the birth of the child, and regretted it afterwards. But that is of little importance. What counts most is that you bring the boy back to the Nords as quickly as possible. Breaking a contract with the seafarers has always cost us dearly. Our nation could feel it in its coffers.
I will do my best.
A father selling his own son for a few boat rides. For ugly, that is ugly.
Lady Fontaine didn't seem to have any knowledge of that detail. That could be of use to us.
Captain, sir, we were given orders to wait here with the merchandise.
You're going to have to wait. We need to find a way to clear the access to the warehouse. Excuse me, madam, but I haven't quite finished my inquiry yet.
If you would be so courteous, I would like you to leave. I have told you all that I have to say.
Come on now, stop lying. Jonas was taken away by force against his will by armed men.
That is not true. Completely false. He...
Enough! With every word, you are a step closer to a prison cell.
Prison? But what would be the charges?
Kidnapping. Whether Jonas is your son or not, he is a naught that you kidnapped and locked up. In the eyes of the prince, you have committed a crime that puts the interests of the congregation at great risk.
I beg of you, Your Excellency. Have mercy on a poor mother who is looking only to recover her child. We didn't kidnap our own son. And if you need to speak with him to be convinced, please do. He's in our warehouse, near the Coin Guard Plaza, next to the canal. I am certain that once you have heard his account, you will see the tragedy in our predicament and help us.
I regret threatening that woman.
You didn't have a choice. She was lying, and we need to find that boy. Here we are. Be careful. Fontaine won't be alone. He'll have his henchmen with him.
Let's just try to remain discreet.
Sir de Sade, what are you doing here?
I've come looking for your son. The Naughts are worried about his disappearance.
Those Naughts took him from us, but now we've got him back, and he'll be staying with us.
Would you be so kind as to hear what I have to say, Sir Fontaine? You've taken your son against his will and have him locked up like merchandise in a warehouse. Is that what you call being a good father?
As if you would know what it is like to be a parent. You are far too young to understand the way we feel.
I looked into the contract that binds you to the Naughts. It was indeed you who ceded your son to them in exchange for help with your business with the bridge.
It is so. But that sort of contract is ignoble. I never would have signed it if I had known.
You should have thought of that before. Breaking the contract could have regrettable consequences for the congregation.
The prince will know how to negotiate with the Naughts. If they take my son back, my wife will die of sadness.
Her sadness would be all the more terrible if she learned of your role in the story, don't you think?
You wouldn't dare tell her. I beg you.
You're not leaving me with a choice.
Very well. Take the key and take him away. Cursed be the day I delivered my son unto the Naughts.
All children leave the nest one day or another, sir. Farewell.
Who are you?
My name is de Sade. I am legate of the congregation. Your captain has sent me to find you.
And were you able to convince my father to allow me to go free?
Yes. Even if I had to bend his arm a little.
That doesn't surprise me. He seemed to have no intention of changing his mind. I feel more sorry for my mother. She seems so sweet and happy to see me.
You don't seem to be all that close to your parents.
I hadn't seen them since I was 5 years old. I barely remember them. They find me, capture me, and lock me up in this warehouse. Hard to grow close after all that. My family is the Naughts. I am sorry for my parents, but that is the way of it now. Can I go home?
Yes. You should still go and say farewell to your mother. Then find your way to the ship. I'll see you there.
Whatever you need to be the talk of all Serene.
and can ne'er decay, for wine still supplies. If you had any idea who I am, open up, imbeciles! I have a ship to catch!
That vulture of a tavern master was right. It is Constantine's voice. It's coming from the floor above.
It sounds as if he's locked up.
And I have a feeling they're expecting company. Be careful. The slightest itchy word to these brutes will have them drawing blades to scratch it.
Negotiation may be the solution. As you say, this breed of brutes won't spit on ransom money.
What a waste. I'd rather sneak around them than give half a coin to these seedy fellows.
It's blocked. It's not possible just now.
Shouting like that, we should have gotten rid of him. Don't be an idiot. It's obvious that he's a noble, a rich man. He needed to be taught a lesson, but it's better we grab some coin. With all those posters we posted, someone with...
To my help! And death to the others! Move away! Things are about to get dicey!
Well, this has been monumentous, gentlemen, but I have more important things to attend to. An island to govern, treaties to sign, riches to expedite, and a demanding father to impress!
Constantine, it's me!
My dear cousin! Oh, my lucky star! Always there to pull me out of my fires.
Well, I do what I can. We're departing soon. Your father wasn't pleased by your absence this morning.
Have you ever seen him happy about anything when it comes to me? You know what he thinks of me.
He cares about you. I know that. He appointed you governor, didn't he?
He is ridding himself of a source of constant disappointment. Enough said. Today we set sail for adventure. If you only knew how these river scum treated me. Do me a courtesy, good cousin. Now that we stand boldly alongside the brave Kurt, let's give them their money's worth.
There's no one left to pay, Your Highness. The brave Kurt and your cousin have already settled the books.
Really now? What a shame. I would have loved to have seen that. We've nothing left to do then than to board our ship. An adventure awaits us at the end of the street.
It's not possible just now.
Sir?
Constantine d'Orsay, future governor of Tir Freddy. I'm enchanted, Captain. I am eager to board your ship.
Enchanted as well, Your Highness. I hope you enjoy your voyage. Are you ready to leave?
Not quite. I still have a few errands to run for my uncle. What about you?
My cabin boy, Jonas, is back on ship. I have you to thank, I imagine.
You do. It's a rather sad affair, and though solved, leaves a broken family behind.
All we can do is plot a course. No one tells the wind what to do. I do thank you. I didn't think you'd go to so much trouble for a cabin boy. Your actions bring you honor.
Be back soon, Captain.
have any idea how to get in there without being noticed?
Let's take a look around the building. We might find a less conspicuous entrance.
If you wore a Naught uniform and you were able to keep your mark hidden from them, they might let us in. Unless we just offered them a drink. These sailors rarely refuse one.
I see where this is headed. If we drop a little soporific in their glasses, the way will be clear. I'll just need to find the proper ingredients, but it's doable.
Good day, Excellency.
Sir de Sardet, to what do I owe the pleasure?
I have come to inform you that my cousin Constantine and I are departing for Tirfredi on the hour.
Ah, yes. I did indeed hear talk that you had both received callings of greater stature. Allow me to congratulate you. Were you not named legate of the congregation?
You are correct, Excellency. I thank you.
It is a station of great honor that I am sure you will fill with brio and panache. The Mother Cardinal Cornelia will be enchanted to work with you, and your cousin in the future. I only regret that your departure is so sudden.
Really?
To be entirely honest with you, I was hoping to solicit your help in a rather delicate matter.
Tell me more about it. And perhaps I can take care of your problem before my departure.
Very well. A small group of dangerous heretics has found refuge in Serene. We know that your uncle tolerates the presence of all pagans within the city walls. But these particular non-believers threaten the fragile harmony of this place. We would consider it a tremendous favor if you would arrest them and deliver them to our guard.
Heresy is not a crime in Serene. You do know that. But I'm sure my uncle would hear your arguments. Why call on my intervention?
The prince would indeed give us his blessing, but it would take time. Far too much time. For according to our sources, these fugitives have already made contact with a smuggler to take them who knows where.
I see. You're hoping that I'll be able to do something before they make it to an enemy city. If your heretics are planning on boarding a ship, then they must be in the dockyards. I'll look into this and see what I can do. Could you tell me anything about Thélème?
It would be a pleasure. As you already know, our glorious nation is guided by our faith. We follow the teachings of Matthias, our founder and greatest prophet, and give thanks each day to the Luminous for having gifted us magic. The high dignitaries of Thélème are at the same time our spiritual guides, advocates, and grand mages.
I've heard say that dissensions have appeared recently in your nation.
Ah, you must certainly be speaking about the debates that have divided the Ordo Luminous and the more political orders. The Lord Luminous has an extremely pure vision of our faith and applies the words of our saint very strictly. But other, more open-minded factions exist within our nation. They believe that a less rigid dialectic would attract souls more readily to our faith. But their differences are purely theoretical and do not threaten the cohesion of our nation, I assure you.
What's your point of view on the relations between our two nations?
As ambassador of Thélème, I can only rejoice at the mention of our commercial treaties. We appreciate as well the welcome that your uncle gave to our missionaries. Thanks to your support, more and more believers wander your lands. The congregation is our most precious ally. To be perfectly honest, we have only two complaints: that heresy is tolerated, and that your treaties with the Bridge Alliance are maintained.
How's Thélème faring on Tirfredi?
We built a marvelous city, San Matthias, on the western coast of the island. Did you know that certain historians believe that it might well have been the final resting place of our prophet? Our missionaries there are a multitude. Not a day passes without new islanders joining our sacred faith. Of course, there are certain pockets of resistance. There is talk of a demonic cult, disgusting creatures. But I am confident that the Ordo Luminous will be able to put an end to these horrors. And we have tremendous hopes that the entire native population will join our ranks.
How goes the conflict with the Bridge Alliance?
Your territory is, alas, the only one that has been spared from the ravages of war on the continent. We fight on every front. Without great success, one must say. But what other choice do we have? These so-called savants not only refuse the light, but are determined in their fight against it.
And on Tirfredi?
To my knowledge, no one has yet seen any serious fighting. The Bridge have succeeded in provoking the natives there, and have their hands full keeping them at bay. Which leaves us greater latitude to settle peacefully and pursue our mission of conversion.
Could you tell me anything about Thélème?
It would be a pleasure. As you already know, our glorious nation is guided by our faith. We follow the teachings of Matthias, our founder and greatest prophet, and give thanks each day to the Luminous for having gifted us magic. The high dignitaries of Thélème are at the same time our spiritual guides, advocates, and grand mages.
I've heard say that dissensions have appeared recently in your nation.
Ah, You must certainly be speaking about the debates that have divided the Ordo Luminis and the more political orders. The Lord Luminis has an extremely pure vision of our faith and applies the words of our saint very strictly. But other, more open-minded factions exist within our nation. They believe that a less rigid dialectic would attract souls more readily to our faith. But their differences are purely theoretical and do not threaten the cohesion of our nation, I assure you.
I must be going. Farewell, Excellency.
May the light guide you, de Sade.